Hey, I'm Paul Rabelais, and in this video, I'm going to tell you how the estates of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, two of the wealthiest people on this planet, will wind up paying zero in the federal estate tax. Okay, so old Bill and Warren, two of the wealthiest men in the world. I was doing a little research just to see what their net worth was, and it was reported that Bill Gates, even with all of the charitable contributions that he has made over the last couple of decades, his net worth, or his estate, is worth a reported $110 billion. Warren Buffett, he's a little behind. Poor Warren. Warren's very frugal and has done quite well for himself. Warren has an estate, I suppose Warren and his wife, of $83.7 billion. Now those aren't million, those are billions. And remember, a billion is 1,000 million. So when Bill Gates has 110 billion, that's a lot of cheese. All right, and I will tell you my estate, because I'm going to go over not only how Bill Gates and Warren Buffett will avoid estate tax, I'm going to show you how I'm going to avoid estate tax. So I guess maybe we should talk about, the size of my estate. Well, I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you that each of Bill Gates and Warren Buffett make more in one day than I've made in the 54 years that I've been on this planet. All right, so before I get to, I'm going to kind of do this in stages. Before I get to the uber wealthy Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and how they will pay zero estate tax when they pass away, let me talk about somebody who's just really rich but not at their level, and how much estate tax the really rich guy, let's call him really rich guy, will have to pay. All right, so let's say really rich guy only has $1 billion, and it's a pittance compared to Gates's 110 billion and Buffett's 83.7 billion. Really rich guy has $1 billion, and he wants to leave it. Let's say he's got 4 kids. He wants after he and his wife die, really rich guy wants to leave his estate to his 4 children, or maybe his children and his grandchildren. Let's just say his children to make it simple. All right, so he and his wife pass away, maybe at the same time, maybe years apart, whatever. But they had $1 billion. Now and I'll get right to it. When really rich guy with $1 billion, when he and his wife pass away and they leave their estate to their 4 kids, there's going to be, before it goes to the kids, that they're going to write a check for over $390 million to the United States Treasury. So, because that's how much estate tax they will pay when a really rich guy and his wife, pass away and they, leave their estate to their 4 kids. So you might be thinking, well, how in the world will Bill Gates and Warren Buffett pay zero when they're ridiculously more wealthy than a really rich guy? And really rich guy has got to pay $390 million of federal estate tax. Well, here's the answer. Okay, and before I give you the answer, let me remind you, really important that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you don't miss anything. And then if you could smash the thumbs up button, that would be phenomenal. YouTube will share more of my videos. And then if you know a really rich guy, there's a little share arrow. Hit that share button, and then you can text, email, whatever. Forward this along to people that you might find it helpful or at least fun to watch. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's the secret to Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Their estates, their family having to pay zero federal estate tax when they die, even though they have tens or hundreds of billions of dollars in their estate. So let's just go through the example that, let's use the Gates as an example. And I'm sorry, Bill and Melinda, if you're watching this, but I'm going to use you as a, Bill, I'm going to knock you off first, and then it's going to be Melinda. Let's hope it's not for a very long time, because I know you're doing a whole lot of good for the world with all of the, stuff that you're doing. Okay, so Bill dies. Bill and his wife have $110 billion. Let's say Bill owns half of that, $55 billion. The federal estate tax is roughly 40% of someone's estate. So when Bill passes away, $55 billion estate, you'd think there'd be about $22 billion that would have to go to the IRS. Well, Bill is going to set up an estate planning legal program so that if he's the first to pass away before his wife, he's going to take advantage of the unlimited estate tax marital deduction. It's a rule in our estate tax law that says when a spouse dies and leave assets to or for their surviving spouse, then that spouse who dies, their estate gets a deduction for whatever they leave to their spouse. So Bill in his estate planning legal program will say, he might say, I leave my estate to my spouse, or he might say, I leave it in a trust with my spouse to get income for my spouse's life, and that qualifies for special tax treatment. And so while Bill's gross estate is $55 billion because he left it to his spouse in the right way, his estate gets a deduction, an unlimited marital deduction. Gross estate $55 billion, left it all to his spouse under the unlimited marital deduction. So his gross estate gets a $55 billion deduction for what he left to his spouse. Net estate subject to estate tax, zero. But that's not the end of the story, because now Bill Gates' wife, she has this $110 billion estate. And when she passes away, let's say there's no spouse to leave it to, the unlimited marital deduction is not available. So what does she do? Well, you'd think there'd be something like $44 billion in estate tax, 40% of $110 billion when Melinda, the surviving spouse, dies. But no, she takes advantage of another unlimited deduction on the estate tax return. It's the estate tax unlimited charitable deduction. You see, the Gates have set up their own charitable organization. I think it's called the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, something like that. And so they're going to leave their estate after both of them passes away to this charity. And then under our estate tax rules, anything you leave to a charity gets deducted from your estate under the unlimited charitable deduction. So when Melinda passes away, yes, her gross estate will be $110 billion. She leaves it all to the charity. That's a $110 billion unlimited charitable deduction. Her net estate, subject to estate tax, zero. So, in fact, I think Warren Buffett has pledged to do virtually the same thing, leaving the bulk or most of his estate to Bill and Melinda Gates' foundation. And I'm sure he has others that he wants to help as well. So I would think that here's what Bill and Melinda Gates or Warren Buffett and his wife, here's what they may be thinking. They may be thinking, Bill Gates says, I have $110 billion. I don't know how many kids he has. Let's say he has 3. I'm sure somebody will correct me. He's thinking, I could leave my estate, or my wife and I could leave our estate to our 3 kids, and our entire estate would be subject to the federal estate tax at 40%. So, roughly when we both pass away, our kids will get $66 billion, and the United States Treasury will get $44 billion. And he thinks, I could do it a different way though. And he's probably thinking, I don't want my kids to get $66 billion. In fact, Warren Buffett was quoted as saying, I want to leave my kids enough money so that they would feel they could do anything, but not so much that they could do nothing. So there's probably some, with these big numbers, some token bequest to Bill Gates and his wife's children, with the bulk of it going to charity. And so then what he's thinking is, I could leave, set my kids up so they're fine, but leave, 99% of what I have to my charitable foundation, 0 to the government. And then what's going through their mind is they're saying, I'm thinking that the charity can use my resources in a more efficient way to do more good than the United States government can do. And you know what? they probably got a point there. Not probably, they got a point there. So that's what they're thinking, and that's what the many other very, very, very wealthy people have pledged to leave the bulk of their estate to charity as well. So, and I would think the government would support that, because the reason charities get tax advantages is because of the philosophy that the charities are there to do the work that the government would have to do if the charity wasn't doing it. And, you know, charities are probably more efficient with their fundraising dollars than the government is with their tax dollars. So I think it is a good idea that that people can have the tax advantages of leaving their estate to charity, and allow those charities to continue to do the good work that they do, and not you know, squander money that just goes to the United States Treasury. Okay, not a political discussion here, but to me, it is what it is, and that's the deal there. All right, so as a bonus, I'm going to tell you how me and my wife are going to completely avoid estate tax. You know, my wife Amy and I, we've been working hard, and we've been building our estate, not quite at the level that Bill Gates and Warren Buffett have. So the way, and guess what? I'm gonna pay zero estate tax and not even have to leave anything to charity. So here's how we're gonna do it. Well, it's pretty simple. For people who pass away this year, and hope that's not the case for us, but for the law this year is if somebody passes away, there's an estate tax exclusion amount. The first $11.58 million is free of estate tax. And if married couples set things up right, they get 2 times that. Each spouse gets that exclusion amount. So married couples can have $23.16 million in their estate and still pay zero estate tax. So my plan is, I don't plan on having $23 million in my estate. My wife and I have been raising 5 kids, private schools, kindergarten through 12, 5 college educations, 2 have finished law school, 3rd one at Tulane Law School as we speak, and then everything that goes with that. And so we just got the empty nest, but still there's several on the payroll. So most people don't have to worry too much about the estate tax, because of especially married couples can have more than $23 million and completely avoid the estate tax. Now just keep in mind that on January 1st of 2026, that estate tax exclusion amount is going to be cut roughly in half. We'll see if they change things before then. Who knows what's going to happen. All right, so no trickery there, but that's just quite frankly what the super wealthy are doing to make sure that what they've worked for, and I know Bill Gates has worked for his, and I know that Warren Buffett lives a frugal life and started very young in his own business, saving and then investing and so forth. So more power to them for building that, but that's how they will take advantage of the system and the tax structure to make sure that they allow for, you know, our country and what we do to be better even after they're gone. So I applaud them for everything they've done and all the jobs that they've created, and quite frankly all the wealth that they've accumulated, and really applaud them for what they're doing with that wealth by giving away so much of it to so many good causes. Enough on that. All right, so that's how they'll pay zero estate tax. Keep in mind that I do publish a new YouTube video every morning, 10 a.m. Central Time, so tune in. Want to educate as many people as I can. Keep subscribing, keep telling other people about it. Keep the comments coming below, at least the ones that are fairly legible and kind of well thought out and maybe even proofread and edited. So those are the ones I like to see and respond to the most. Won't respond to your personal legal questions, but you know, general overall comments are fantastic. All right, y'all have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.